Boxing King Media. Delighted to be joined by Billy Joe Saunders. Billy, first of all, how are you, brother? Everything good?
All good this end, my man. All good this end. Just chilling back, loving life. Um, but all good, my man. Your end?
All good, mate. Still recovering from last night's boxing and the drive back up north. But I'm assuming you was there at the first fight. I didn't see you there last night, so I'm guessing you watched it on TV or out somewhere.
No, yeah, I watched it. I watched it at home. Brilliant event. Um, Tokyo Shake put on. Everyone involved. To put events on like that, it's nice to see boxing thriving at the top and finally getting the recognition it needs. So it's always good to have these sort of people with big pulling power in the game.
Definitely. I know no one really got a prediction from you, but what were you kind of expecting to happen in this fight before it took place?
There was a little bit of mixed thoughts on it, really. I think that I did have a thought of obviously Eubank just purely getting old, fatherhood catching up. I think that the first. I think he was on the decline now for the last couple of years with Sin, but I just think that 11 stone 6 has pulled it out of him trying to maintain that weight for so long. Your body's gonna naturally grow. He always keeps in good shape, so it's not really a case of he's blown up and trying to get back down to the weight. He's always been in shape, and I think it was one too many last fight, and I think the last fight took a lot of mileage off, and probably left him with about 30% capacity going into this fight, and it was shown. Um, Myself, listen, you got to give everybody respect who actually gets in uh, the ring and tries to have a go. He don't have, he tried his best, but at the end of the day, you can't beat time, and time's caught up with big time.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that about Eubank. It obviously takes a bit of light away from Conor. But how much of an impact do you think it was, like his actual performance, and do you think he employed
I
different
don't think
tactics?
it takes anything away from Conor because look,
Mm,
from the weight he's come up 2 weights.
mm.
So I think that he's given a lot of advantages away, but I think the main thing he done back, he come back and done in the rematch. He didn't fight with emotion and get involved as much and let the bigger man smother his work. He used his feet work, getting inside, dipping in, sliding side by side, getting low, coming high, using the jab, getting out when he finished the jab, countering. I just think that he had a brilliant performance, to be honest. So you got to give props to that because he went away thinking last time, right, I may have got involved a little bit too much here and there. He kept it simple, and be honest with you, he beat him with a jab, didn't he? All he done this time was change tactics to not rushing in with big, lunging shots, just using the jab, setting up some telling body shots earlier on to slow him down. I thought that was a good game plan. Earlier on, slow him down, targeting the body. I think he hurt Eubank a couple of times with a few body shots. And Eubank said something interesting. He knew from round one, but if you see him round one, I think Conor Benn landed a couple of extremely good body shots and stopped him and put him in his place, and then broke him down systematically with just a jab. Look, we all know that Eubank is not the best of boxers. He's a very, very good fighter if you stand and trade with him. However, fighting and boxing is two different platforms.
You suggested the weight cut there. Obviously, you've done weight cuts before. Can you compare it to any of your fights where you might have felt something similar to what you were seeing in Eubank?
Listen, 11 stone 6 weight cut for me in the end was just getting too much. So I decided just to let the body grow naturally. Don't forget, I was always around the similar weight as an amateur. I was all right till 26, 27. Then I just felt that the growth of the body just needed that little bit of step up to 12 stone. And you got to know when to do that. And a lot of people don't do it because they think, oh, they're not big enough for the weight. There's some good fighters in the weight, but you just got to let the body grow naturally. And I think that pulling yourself down and ripping it down when it wants to, you know, let nature take its course. I think they're just doing injustice to the body, and it showed in the performance. And look, clearly he did the weight all right this time. He did the weight a bit better than last time, but it was more of a case of, at the age of what he is and where he's at in his career, that, it's more of a, it's more taskful for someone getting in the ring at 36 and performing at their highest and at their best, let alone struggling with weight as well. So I think that played a big part. Not taking nothing away from Conor, because I think his tactics here was completely different. And I think that even if it was the same as last time, just the tactics with the jab alone, he would have got the same result.
Okay, and then lastly on the fight, there's been two opinions. Some people are saying incredible fight. In fact, a lot of people are saying incredible fight, great action, great drama in both fights. But two Yorkshire people, Dave Allen and your old coach Dominic Ingle, are not impressed with the skill set, and they've been describing it as a low level fight, and neither guy would beat anyone at the top level type of thing. Where do you kind of stand with it? How do you break it down?
I stand that Conor Benn is still very, very novicey. And when I say novicey, that's not disrespect. He's got a lot of learning to do,
Hmm.
but he has the time to do that. I think Conor Benn can become world champion with the right fight and picking him at the right time. Don't forget, he's still only young. He's not really been in that, from the magnitude of fights he was in before the Eubank fight. You got to let him. If you would have took, for example, when he got dropped in your court,
Hmm.
the example of where he's at now, if he can grow and mature and, learn, which these two fights would have put the experience there, I think that he's got a brilliant chance of being world champion. And I also put him down as more technical. He's got more ability than Eubank, and he's got more talent than Eubank. So I would much prefer to see him now go on and try for world titles and put himself up there with fighters like that, because he's only grow and get better from it. With Eubank, listen, I stated it years ago, he was never good enough to be world champion because of the attributes he lacks in the boxing side of things.
Hmm.
I've shared the ring with him. I know what he's good at and I know what he's not good at. And I can honestly say that, for once I was probably right. He will never be world champion, and he was never good enough to be. But however, he's made a good career for himself. He's earned a nice few quid, and he should be happy of that.
Definitely. And lastly, on yourself, I saw there was some article where some guy took your message from a week ago, and he rocked up at a pub hoping to meet you. But I think it was,
This is
what's
this
all that
some
about?
fella, this Australian fella, Matty Floyd fella. He's been giving me a bit of abuse on social media. However, he rocked up a week later, so I'm not an alcoholic. Um, I'm not going to be in the pub 24/7. But when I do see him, and when I do catch him around the shows, he won't have to wait for BKFC to get involved, because I will smash him to pieces. So he's only, listen, it is what it is with him. He wants to fight. They have been in touch, to be honest, and offered me good money to get in there and show him fighting. So I had some talks with some CEOs and having a talk about it for 10 minutes work. I might go in there and absolutely destroy him in 2 minutes. So I might as well just go there and pick up £1,000,000.
So we were more likely to see you in bare knuckle than boxing if you do ever come back.
I just think that in the boxing side of things now, boxing's changed, and look, with the people involved in the boxing game, and who I was involved in, there's a lot of snakes in it for me, if I'm honest. And look, I'm thankfully I put myself in a position where I don't need to be around them. What a lot of fighters need to realise and understand is these promoters, managers, etc., they need the fighters to keep their businesses going. Because look, let's face it, all we are really, if you go back to the Victorian days and the olden days when, they used to chuck them in a pit and fight to the death, it's a big circus act. We're only entertaining the crowd. So people should be looked after, right? And I'm not on about just in battle, I'm on about after as well. You get most of these promoters and managers, when the fight is finished and they've had what they sort of had off them, they kick them to the side, and they couldn't really care if you had not a pot to piss in and sitting and begging for a cup of coffee on the street. So, all these young fighters need to take note to what I'm saying here. They're not your friends, they never will be. But it's a business. It's a rolling effect. So I don't, for me personally, it wouldn't really bother me if I got back in the ring or not. Um, a lot of people ask me all the time, and I always toy with the idea, but unless obviously something big arise, that I wouldn't bother.
Okay, and the last one on your kids. I'm keeping tabs on your kids' amateur fights, and I know they're doing really well. We're going to see the young Saunders in the pro ranks more than likely. I'm
We
guessing.
have. I've got one young boy there, Cruz Saunders. He's in it now. My other two, they're more interested in stuck in and earning a few quid working. I've got my nephew Billy Saunders. He's going to the Europeans. He'll be representing his country. Got big eye hopes in him. Then doing well, and it'd be nice to see him medal and to keep the name going. But he's doing really well at the minute, and that's all we can ask for, brother. Life's good. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's alive. We've got food in the cupboard. We've got eating. We've got gas. We're enjoying it. Crimbo's coming up. Life's good, my man. Life's good.
I'm glad you're happy, Billy, and it's always great to catch up with you, brother. I really appreciate you coming on for a quick blast, and have a great Christmas, man.
God bless you, my man. Enjoy. Pleasure.
Thank you for that, Billy. Appreciate it.
See you later, buddy. Bye.
Respect isn't given, it's earned.